Good evening and Shabbat Shalom. I am Rabbi Javier Carapan, and I am joined this evening by Leslie Zucker, Joel Krishover, and Warren Sickle, and our technical team. A big thank you to our Beyond Our Walls committee for bringing us through all the streaming platforms that we have. We keep adding them, so. And also a special thanks to our digital docents who are managing our streaming. If you're joining us on Facebook Live, please follow the comments for useful information during the service. On the virtual sanctuary, please look for links above the players. On Facebook Live, you can say hello by typing Shabbat Shalom in the comments. And then also we'd like to know where you are joining us from. Finally, for immediate technical assistance, please write down this number, 913-303-1134. That's Tal, our technical assistance line. Please text that number, and one of our docents will call you as soon as possible and get you back on whatever platform you are joining us on this Shabbat. For those of you here in our sanctuary, a reminder that we're calling the pages numbers in brackets, and we don't call a page. Well, if we don't call a page, it will appear on the screen, but if you just want to know what's going to happen, turn the page, it's on the next page, most likely. Basically, if we're skipping a page, we'll let you know. If we're not, we may just go on. Finally, take this moment to silence all your electronic devices, and we thank you for that. As we gather together on this evening, we welcome Shabbat by lighting the candles. If you have candles at home, we invite you to light a match and join us on page 120 as we recite the blessings.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Shabbat Shalom. We join together on page 126. I begin with a prayer of gratitude for all that is holy in my life. God needs no words, no English or Hebrew, no semantics and no services, but I need them. Through prayer, I can sense my inner strength, my inner purpose, my inner joy, my capacity to love. As I reach upward in prayer, I sense these qualities in my Creator. To love God is to love each other, to work to make our lives better. To love God is to love the world God created and to work to perfect it. To love God is to love dreams of peace and joy that illumine all of us and to bring that vision to life. Page 130, together we join in singing the opening lines of Psalm 95, Lechu Neranena. Lechu Neranena, Lechu Neranena, Lechu Neranena, Adonai. page 138. Together we'll join in singing stanzas number 1, 3, and 9 of Lecha Dodi, beginning on page 138. Lecha Lecha Dodi, לקראת קלה, פני פני שבת נקבלה. lecha lecha dodi, לקראת קלה, פני פני שבת נקבלה, la 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 la. lecha dodi, לקראת קלה, פני פני שבת נקבלה. lecha lecha dodi, לקראת קלה, פני פני שבת נקבלה. La 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 la, lecha dodi, לקראת קלה, פני פני שבת נקבלה. lecha lecha dodi, לקראת קלה, פני פני שבת נקבלה. מקדש מלך עיר מלוכה, ומצאי מתוך ההפכה, רב לך שבט בעמק הבכה. והוא יחמול עלייך חמלה, la 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 la. lecha dodi, לקראת קלה, פני פני שבת נקבלה. lecha lecha dodi, לקראת קלה, פני פני שבת נקבלה.
בואי ושלום, עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובצהלה, תוך אמוני ים סגולה. בואי כלה, בואי כלה.
lecha lecha dodi, לקראת קלה, פני פני שבת נקבלה. lecha lecha dodi, לקראת קלה, פני פני שבת נקבלה, la 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 la. lecha dodi, לקראת קלה, פני פני שבת נקבלה. lecha lecha dodi, לקראת קלה, פני פני שבת נקבלה. We continue together on page 146. Yai, lai, lai, lai. Yai, lai, 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 lai. Yai, lai, 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 lai. Haaretzu et Adonai, et Adonai, Baruch Adonai, HaMevorach, Le'olam Continue together on page 267. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Vaed. Page 154, I'm sorry. Maybe see.
את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך, והיו הדברים האלה
אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברת בהם, בשבתך בביתך, ובלכתך בדרך, ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם להות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובישעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם. אמת. Join together in Mi Chamocha is on page 158. Mi Chamocha ba'eli Adonai, Mi Chamocha nehtar b'kodesh, Nora te'ilot, Osef elech, Osef elech. Mi Chamocha ba'eli Adonai, Mi Chamocha nehtar b'kodesh. Join together in the middle of page 160. Grant, O God, that we lie down in peace, and rise us up, O guardian, to life renewed. Spread over us the shelter of your peace. Guide us with your good counsel. For your name's sake, be our help. Shield and shelter us beneath the shadow of your wings. Defend us against enemies, illness, war, famine, and sorrow. Distance us from wrongdoing. For you, God, watch over us and deliver us. For you, God, are gracious and merciful. Guard our going and coming, to life and to peace evermore. Blessed are you, Adonai, guardian of Israel, whose shelter of peace is spread over us, over all your people Israel, and over Jerusalem. Baruch Ata Adonai, הפורש סוכת שלום עלינו ועל כל עמו ישראל ועל ירושלים. Page 163. Blown the marketplace away. There is a song on the wind and joy in the trees. Shabbat has arrived in the world, scattering a song in the silence of the night, and eternity honors her day. And eternity honors the day. Yai dai dai, yai dai dai, yai dai 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 dai, yai dai dai, yai dai dai dai, yai dai dai, yai dai dai, yai dai dai, yai dai 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 dai, yai dai dai, yai dai dai. Adonai Sfatai Tiftach Ufi Yagid Teilatecha. Adonai Sfatai Tiftach Ufi Yagid Teilatecha.
Baruch Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה, מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם בעזרת שרה, אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי מתים אתה רב להושיע, מהשיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי מתים ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומי דומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה להחיות מתים. ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיי המתים. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יללוך סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני, האל הקדוש.
It's now time for our healing prayers. You may have access to the Misheberach list through the e-news that you received this morning. You can also follow the link in the comments. If you'd like to offer names, please type them in the comments so we can all see them. Please go ahead and begin typing. For those of us here in person, we invite you to share names as I point around the sanctuary. I'm going to start on this side. Go around here. On this Shabbat, we pray for healing both of the body and the spirit for all of us in need. As we think of those in need of healing, we also offer a prayer for those who help in healing. May those who care for the sick with their hands, their voices, and their hearts be blessed with courage and stamina. May those who pursue healing through medical skill and knowledge be blessed with insight, patience, and compassion. And may all of us, the sick and the well together, find courage and hope. And let us say, Amen. It is now time for our Simcha Moment. If you are so moved, we invite you to share special Simcha joy from this past week by typing your Simcha in the comment line. It may include your birthday, anniversary, good news, and accomplishments of all and any kind. Please use just a few words and don't forget to press return. For those of you who are here in person, we invite you to join us at our Simcha mic. We ask that you come up one person or pod at a time. Please don't congregate and refrain from touching the microphone. There's an X there you can stand, so you can come up, tell us who you are and what your Simcha is. Thank you.
I'm Jonathan, and yesterday was my birthday.
Darn, he was so fast, I didn't get up here. I'm Andrea, and I am, my wonderful thing is that I was able to drive 2.5 days to Connecticut and see my daughter for over a week, and she turned 35. She doesn't know that I'm telling everybody. And so it was a wonderful time to see her, and then I made the drive back. So I'm very thankful. And I have a new occupation. I'm a painter today. So that's why I look like this. And I'm also thinking about springtime. My shirt says gardening.
Well, we had springtime until yesterday.
Yes.
So didn't have to go very far. I didn't see it. Did anybody say anything in the Simchas about the game the Chiefs won last night?
Oh boy, that was something else. I
don't know if that's a Simcha or a miracle.
yes. I believe the answer is yes. It was a nail biter, that one.
I went upstairs. I didn't watch it, but I just followed the end of it. I just have to be honest. It's like, if anything, honest. MS.
We appreciate that.
Today, I have a poem by an American poet called Sherry Bloomberg, who was born in Tucson, Arizona in 1947, and she resides in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and her language is English. So this is not a translation. And her poem is based on a text, a very short text from Genesis 49:31. This week's Torah portion is Parashat Vayechi, which is the very last Torah portion of the book of Genesis, of Bereshit. And these is based on a report of Leah's death. So Bloomberg wrote a poem called Leah's Last Words. So this is, but there's nothing in the Torah about this, because most of the words of women in the Torah are nowhere to be seen. So everything that we bring to you, this comes from the Torah, a women's commentary that has a section about voices. At the end of each Torah portion, you have a collection of different poems. And I've used them before. So this one is Leah's Last Words. So in the end, we will be together, resting throughout time in that piece of land Abraham purchased long ago. Here, beautiful Sarah and kind, strong-willed Rebekah lie with their mates, Abraham and Isaac, in the cave of Machpelah. Come, Jacob, let Joseph return you, not to Rachel's side, but to mine. And here, with the ancestors, we shall lie in the cave of Machpelah. Yet I will miss Rachel, weeping for her children. Death puts to rest all jealousy and fear. And I think of Hagar and Bilhah and Zilpah as our sons carry Jacob's bones home. This cave, now holy ground, open to receive Israel, our bones wait for those who come. Let Jacob's long wrestling end in peace. As we now gather all our simchas, we share a prayer. Divine source of blessings, we thank you for everything that enriches our lives. We turn to you now with gratitude as we share in the happiness of those who have marked their birthday, anniversaries, good news, and accomplishments. Adonai, be with them now and always. May they be blessed with the strength to overcome sickness and sorrow, and with much health and happiness, now and always. As we honor each one of you for the gifts that you bring to our sacred community, we join together in songs. We mark this sacred occasion. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam שהחיינו וקיימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam שהחיינו וקיימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה.
Really wanted to say Leah's last words were, may the force be with you. can't remember what she said right before she died. But I'm sure they.
I'm sure somebody will tell us on the comments. And there was a detail in that story that you might not have picked up, and it is that everybody in that early part, the patriarchs are buried, and this is a traditional place. In other words, they're actually, nobody has excavated to make sure that they are there, but the traditional place is the cave of Machpelah in the city of Hebron. However, Rachel is not there. Rachel has her own tomb. So that's why Leah was talking about Jacob coming home to her, quote unquote, and not to Rachel. And you have to remember that Rachel was Jacob's favorite wife. And so kind of everything comes to a conclusion as we come to the end of the first book of the Torah, Genesis, Bereshit, and we read about the death of the two main characters that are left, Jacob and Joseph. And it's truly the end of an era. And from here on, a new path for Jewish history will open. And before the next chapter begins, Jacob has one request to make from his son, Joseph, while still in Egypt, who, although not his firstborn, will be the head of the family after Jacob is gone. And at the end of the book of Genesis, which we will read tomorrow morning services, we read about the death of Joseph. In this week's Torah portion, Parashat Vayechi, and the words means, and he lived, which means that everybody dies. That's just how it is. Jacob calls Joseph and says to him, if I have found favor in your sight, please put your hand under my thigh, like way of saying you're going to make an oath now. Treat me with faithful kindness. Please do not bury me in Egypt. Now, those two words, faithful kindness, require a little more elaboration because faithful kindness is an interpretation of the two words that appear in the Hebrew. The two words in question are chesed ve'emet. So Jacob is asking Joseph to do for him chesed ve'emet. Literally, kindness, love, and truth. Already, the classical Midrash asks a question. V'chi yesh chesed shel sheker, meaning, is there such a thing as untruthful chesed, like kindness of a lie, of someone who tells lies? I mean, how is that possible? It seems redundant to say, in the case of Jacob, and add this word emet, truth, to this whole thing. Are there perhaps different kinds of chesed? I would think that there might be, but before we get there, I want to mention that all commentators agree that from this very short introduction between father and son, we learn about a very important mitzvah, a Jewish moral value, that of gemilut chasadim, of the importance of act of loving kindnesses. Now, I prefer to use the word chesed without translating it in the same way that we normally use words like Torah, Shabbat, Havdalah, and Shalom without constantly translating them. And that's because they are really Jewish concepts. We can explain to people who are not Jewish or who are learning what the word Havdalah means, but we're not saying like, we're going to do separation now. Right? We say, we're going to do Havdalah. I think the same should apply to the word chesed. Because I think when we translate the word chesed into English, we lose the meaning, especially the one in this week's Torah portion. Our tradition distinguishes really between two main types of gemilut chasadim, of giving chesed to others. One is just chesed, the word chesed by itself, basically acts of kindness that we show towards others. So, visiting the sick, preparing a Shiva meal for the house of mourning are good examples of acts of chesed towards our fellow human beings. The other type of chesed is the one that appears first in this week's Torah portion. Chesed shel emet. Literally, kindness of truth, or faithful kindness, as our translation has it. The great 11th century French commentator Rashi puts it this way. Chesed ve'emed, the mercy shown to the dead, is mercy of truth, chesed shel emet, since one cannot hope for any reward. The main difference between the two is that for an act of chesed, we may expect something in return, even as little as a thank you, maybe a thank you note, or perhaps an act of chesed in return. Down the road, maybe we will be in need of some chesed. We may do these kinds of acts towards others, knowing that the next time it might be something that we need, hoping that those whom we have helped may help us in return, and that will be, quote unquote, a reward. Our chesed will be rewarded with an act of chesed. With chesed shel emet, there is no expectation to be rewarded by those towards whom we have shown such kindnesses. The reason is simple. The person for whose benefit we acted has died. In practical terms, this means that all the mitzvot associated with the death of a person are among the highest kind of chesed each one of us can perform for another human being. Obviously, in the case of Jacob and Joseph, we're talking about a father and a son, but this episode is simply how we learn in rabbinic Judaism the importance of the mitzvah of chesed shel emet. There is a higher degree of obligation when it comes to our parents and our close relatives, of course, but our ancient rabbis expanded this religious obligation to show chesed toward the dead beyond our immediate family members. From Jacob's request, we learn that we are all obligated to do what we can to honor those who have died. Historically, one of the first institutions in a nascent Jewish community to appear has been the Chevra Kadisha, or the Chevra Kadisha, as they say in Yiddish, the burial society, a group of dedicated men and women whose sole focus is Chesed Shel Emet. Here in our area, we have the Chevra Kadisha of Greater Kansas City. And I know that they're always looking for members of any of our synagogues to join their kindness work. As a matter of fact, every year around Shabbat, Vayechi, the National Association of Chevra Kadisha, offers special programs to educate and recruit new members. This is my little contribution to that piece every year. Please let me know if you have an interest in exploring how to be part of this group of very, very kind and caring individuals. In general, a local Chevra Kadisha, literally the words mean holy society holiday, that's how Hebrew works, but it's holy society, would take care of the tahara, the purification, assisting in the preparation of the deceased for burial, and sometimes the shmirah, the mitzvah of not leaving the deceased alone between the moment of death and the burial. Among non-Orthodox Jews, it is optional to request the services of the Chevra Kadisha. It is our tradition that these two acts of chesed not be performed by close relatives. It's just simply too hard. I personally think it's a beautiful tradition, and I would like it for me and I would invite you to consider it for yourself. It is a mitzvah to respect the wishes of those who have passed away, if that is your wish. We're talking about things when it comes to chesed shel emet for everybody, like accompanying the deceased. So we do chesed shel emet when we attend a funeral or a burial. And now with this Zoom thing, you can do that virtually as well. Also, when we carry or accompany the casket, one especially meaningful act is that of placing earth into the grave. Once upon a time, and I know because I've been doing this in the States for over 20 years, some Jewish communities, Reform congregations, you wouldn't see it much. Now it's becoming more common. Like being present physically at the burial, throwing earth on top of the casket provides some finality and a tangible way of expressing our willingness to do an act of chesed shel emet. Explained this way, you'd be surprised how many non-Jewish people chose to participate and come up to me after the service to tell me how meaningful this was for them. Something very unique that we Jews do at the time of burial. We read in the Mishnah, Zechar mitzvah mitzvah, which Rabbi Rami Shapiro translates as the consequence of kindness is more kindness. And then he teaches, quote, actions generate action. Wishing generates only frustration. Each act sets the condition for the next. While you cannot control the results of your actions, you can influence the conditions they produce. The reward of kindness is the opportunity to do more kindnesses. Like dominoes falling one to the other, your actions become habits triggering more of the same. But unlike dominoes, you have the capacity to turn, to change, to be different in this moment. Abdicate that power, and you abdicate your humanity. End quote. Doing acts of kindness, of chesed, is a way to express our humanity. But perhaps the Mishnah is not talking about any act of kindness. I think it's talking about acts that are specific, chesed shel emet, an act of kindness that is self-contained, without any hope of reciprocation from the person to whom it was intended. It is an expression of our selfless soul. I suspect that ancient rabbis thought that the world where people acted this way would be a Gan Eden, a paradise on earth. So unless the family asks for a private, family-only funeral, the ways in which each one of us can do an act of chesed shel emet in particular, are really open to all of us. In fact, the Jewish tradition considers these acts as something we do not only do for our family and friends, but as something that we are committed to do when we choose to be part of a congregation, of a kahal kadosh. We are all capable of acts of chesed shel emet. It should be our goal, our ideal, to bring more kindness into our world. And I think it is a goal worth pursuing. Have a Shabbat Shalom, everybody. We call back our... Are you okay?
I was afraid I was not going to be able to hold that sneeze.
And as we gather our musicians back together and let our prayer leader take a deep breath, we invite everybody to join us in Aleinu L'Shabech on page 586. If you're able, please stand.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצא בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר
והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד. ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד. ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד. So we prepare for a moment of remembrance. I invite you to turn to page 594. Why should I wish to see God better than this day? I see something of God in each hour of the 24 and each moment then. In the faces of men and women, I see God. In my own face in the glass, I find letters from God dropped in the street, and every one is signed by God's name. And I leave them where they are, for I know wheresoever I go, others will punctually come forever and ever. So, congregation, we are observing Shloshim period for Deborah Paslavsky, aunt of Adam Paslavsky. And on this Shabbat, remember the following yortzites of members of our congregation: Irving Bent Cover, Abraham Breslau, Leah Brown, Riva Brown, Dr. Bernard M. Capper, James Jim Edward Cohen, Ruth Eiler, Marianne Evans, Simi Fassbinder, Andrew Guinness, Mildred Kaufman Granoff, Julianne Kaplan, Amy Kirstein, Salar Khalili, Barbara Bobby Levy, Kathy Lowenstein, Sanford Mallon, Luther W. Dude Markham, Florence Morris, Sarah Pittler, Rose Reisman, Joseph Rittmaster, Lucille Rowland, Sophie Sayer, Leah Sains, Alice Sullivan, Israel Weinling, Fanny Weingarten, Laura Marie Young, Vladimir Silberstein. Zichronam livracha. May the memories be for a blessing. Page 598, together we join in Kaddish Yatom, the mourners' Kaddish. יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, בעלמה דברה חירותה והמליך מלכותה, בחייכון ובימיכון ובחיי דכל בית ישראל, בעגלה ובזמן קרי ואמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מברך לעולם ולעלמי עלמיה, יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקודשה בריחו, לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, דע אמירם בעלמה ואמרו אמן. יהי שלמה רבה מן שמיה, וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן.
עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו, ויעקו ישראל,
It's time for some announcements. I would like to invite Aviva Simons, Director of Member Engagement for our congregation. Aviva, it's all yours.
Shabbat Shalom. Thank you to everyone who made this service possible. Rabbi Katapan, Leslie Zucker, Joel Critchever, who celebrated a significant anniversary this past week, Warren Sickle, and the Oseh Shalom every single time just gets to me, so thank you. In terms of our worship team, and then also Dave Zucker as part of our Beyond Our Walls committee for literally bringing us beyond our walls tonight. Also, thank you very much to the Kirstein family and Gloria Pittler for being on our Shalom squad today. Our Shabbat celebrations will continue tomorrow. Simcha Shabbat, our Shabbat conversation at 9 a.m., and then our Shabbat morning service at 10:30 a.m. Both are multi-access, so however you would like to join us, we look forward to coming together. And believe it or not, next Friday is Christmas Eve. I cannot believe it, how quick time is flying. So if you would like to fulfill the all-important tradition of eating Chinese food on Christmas Eve, let us know by Tuesday. That is the registration deadline for Szechuan and Schmooze. So we will be at Joy Walk in their private room. And Andrea just made a face of amazement. So we will be at Joy Walk in their private room to enjoy Chinese food together on Christmas. All of the details can be found in the e-news, but the registration deadline is Tuesday. So let us know. And of course, we'll be back here for services next week at our regular time, regular place. All right, a few different musical opportunities is, first of all, you have the opportunity to join the CBT band and choir for Shabbat Shirah, which literally means the Shabbat of Song. So let Leslie know if you are interested. It is less than 1 month away on January 14th. And then this week, a musical opportunity, multi-access song session this Tuesday at 7. So all are welcome in person and online. Speaking of Christmas and New Year's, we have a few different changes to the office schedule and also classes. So this graphic says it all, but basically, long story short, all of our services will still be multi-access on Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, December 31st, and New Year's Day. So we look forward to coming together. There will be no Simcha Shabbat, though, either week. With that, that is all the announcements for now. Thank you very much to a fellow CBT member for sponsoring to-go egg tonight in honor of an extra sweet Shabbat. And we will see you soon. Shabbat Shalom.
Thank you, Aviva, and Shabbat Shalom. We conclude our time together singing Ledor Vador. It takes some from our liturgy, and we invite you to join us. If you are able, please stand and sing along with us.
Ledor Vador,
Ledor Vador,
Ledor Vador,
Ledor Vador, Ledor Vador, Nagid Dor Lecha. Ledor Vador, Ledor Vador, Ledor Vador, Nagid Dor Lecha. ולנצח נצחים, קדושתך נגיש, קדושתך נגיש. בשבתך אלוהינו, מתינו לא ימוש, לעולם לעולם ועד. לדור ודור, לדור ודור, לדור ודור, נגיד דור לך. לדור ודור, לדור ודור, לדור קדושה צריכה נקדיש, קדושה צריכה נקדיש. בשמחך אלוהינו ניתינו לא ימוש, לעולם לעולם ועד. לדור ודור, לדור ודור, לדור ודור, נגיד לך. לדור ודור, לדור ודור, לדור ודור, נגיד לך. Shabbat shalom, everybody. Take care.
Take care of each other out there.